Good morning. That was like almost too loud. Sorry, guys. Didn't want to like wake you guys all up. We'll go ahead and get started. Pam will start out with roll call.
Right. Tammy Fruling-Bogus.
Yes.
Liz Wable.
Here.
Ed Bland.
Here.
Katina Wilcher. Here. Steve Summers.
Here.
Jim McGuire.
Here.
Jeffrey Fagenshoe. Richard Hilton.
Here.
Diane Marlin.
Here.
Kelly Smythe.
Here.
Jeffrey Freeman. Okay. Patricia Avery. Patrick Brett. Have a quorum. I would also like to remind everyone that when you get ready to speak, make sure the green light is visible on your microphone. So we can keep you up. And I appreciate it.
All right. We'll start out. Is there any audience participation? I don't think we have anybody. So the next thing I would like to do is introduce, we have a new commissioner here today. I would like to introduce and welcome Diane Marlin. She's Urbana's new mayor beginning May 1st. And we welcome. Glad to have. Oh, well, thank you too. Yes, I take office May 9th, so is when our official swearing in is. So we will move on to the minutes. The next thing we have in our packet, you'll have your meeting minutes for the February 24th meeting. So we'll need approval of that. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes? Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? No? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move down to our consolidated reports. Let me get to mine.
Chris Ward.
A motion to approve or place on file
For the
for February and March?
yes, we have February 28th and the March 31st. Is there, let's see, where is Chris? Okay. All right, I need second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next are our list of bills. And where's Chris? I have there. I can't. I can only see with my glasses to read, so I can't see the audience very well. So there you are.
Morning. The list of bills are standard for this time of year. There's nothing unusual there. We're working through weatherization expenditures, and those we were reimbursed for those. So the weatherization expenditures are a little bit higher at this time of year, which is a good thing.
Thank you. Any questions on the list of bills? If none, do I hear a motion to accept and place on file the list of bills for February and March?
Motion.
Right. Second by Deb Finan and motion by Rich Helton. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next thing on the agenda is our action items. We have the fiscal year 2018 membership budget and work plan approval by Rita.
Morning. You received in your packet the memo regarding the proposed membership fees for fiscal year 18, as well as the scope of services for fiscal year 18. This year, we are proposing an increase on the per capita cost and also based on population. I want to remind you, as I show in the history, that in the last 3 years, we haven't had an increase on the membership fees, and we have had some increases on the staff salary working on this project. That's why we need the increase. I provided the information regarding the history of the membership increases, and also on the second table on the second page, the table on the second page shows the changes on the proposed fees. As you can see, the average increase was 5.8%. Most of the increases beyond that were due to increases in population in those communities. The scope of services as well as the proposed fees were discussed at the RPC Technical Committee meeting in February, and the majority of the members moved to approve the proposed increased fees as well as the budget. One request that I received from the city of Champaign was that they would like to see the budget proposal for this project for the membership fees in November, because they told me that they work on developing their own budget around that time, and it could be better for them to be prepared for any increases if we provide this information to them by November. Then I agree to that. Next year, we'll be discussing with the RPC Technical Committee the membership and also the work plan in November instead of doing that in January, February. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Do I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2018 membership budget and work plan? Motion by Pius, second.
Second.
Ed Land. Any discussion? If none, oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to note that I am going to vote no on this. The city of Champaign's sales tax revenue is down, and our income tax revenue is down because the state has implemented a new software program, and how they calculate income tax has significantly changed. So now we're down in that as well. And we have basically allocated every available dollar toward one new firefighter. We're not doing anything new in anybody else's budgets. And we're just flat. We've had a flat budget for the last 3 years. I know with respect to this, our economic development director has said he can take it out of the economic development budget, but then what that means is we don't have money for economic development. It's not that we just have this pot of money available to spend on extra things. So I am going to vote no. I do know that RPC has been flat as well, but I think it's important to note that we just don't have the money for the increase. We'll pay it if it happens, but we would prefer not to pay it.
Any other discussion?
Well, question, are you proposing, rather than the increases proposed, to just leave it as at the current level?
Correct. I mean, we would still go up because our population has gone up. But we've got the double whammy of our population went up, and then we went up in the per capita cost. So we're getting almost a 6% increase, which is significant. So I'm not proposing anything other than saying I'm going to vote no. I'm assuming it will pass. If it fails, we can talk about, it'd be great if we left the per capita the same. So.
Do I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2018 membership budget work plan? Oh, did they? All right. I'm sorry. Yes, we are. We're down to discussion. So I'm new at this, guys. So all in favor then?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. We will move down. Our next item is the 2017-2018 Family Priority List. Approval by Ms. Gans. Would you like to give us that, or?
Yes, good morning. I am recommending approval for the 2017-2018 Family Priority List, which is a point sheet system that helps our program to prioritize children and families who have the most need in our community. In the packet here, You do have a copy of the form itself. We do prioritize and apply points to families based on their income, their child's age, if they have a disability, the family's parental status, so if they're teens or single-parent family homes. Excuse me. We also look at if they are homeless or in foster care, and then also social service factors, which might be not having enough food in the home, needing energy assistance, and maybe experiencing domestic violence. So those are some risk factors that we do look at while we're prioritizing a family's application. Are there any questions? Mr. Bland?
Requirement from Head Start, from the Head Start report, this form is just a form that region planning require.
This is a federal requirement that every program across the country is required to complete with every family. Again, this helps us to place children on the wait list, and then as we have children placed and new children coming into the program, we are looking at who has the greatest need, and that's what we're charged to do as a program. Does that help answer your question? Thank you, Brandy. Thank you.
All right, Pius made the motion to approve. Do we have a second? Jim? Any other further discussion? Then we will, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Brandy also will give us our management report for Head Start and Early Head Start, including the financials and the service area reports.
We've had a lot happening within our program the last couple of months. I'm only going to highlight a few. In March, we hired a new Child and Family Services Manager, Dana Smith. She was with the program for 10 years as a family advocate and knows the program very well. We also received additional funding from ISBE, Preschool for All. It's a preschool for all grant that we have, but we received additional funding for it, around $76,358. Also, we got settled in late February and March in our new Head Start facility on Mumford Drive, and that facility is running well. We are fully operational. Our wait list as of today is 418, and 129 of those children on the wait list are over income. We have such a high number right now because it's the end of the year and we're gearing up for next year's enrollment for 2017-2018. At this point in time in the year, we are at 100% enrollment across the board in all of our program options. Spots are either filled or have been offered out to new families who've applied. Also, we've provided services to 46 homeless families within our community, and 16 of those families have actually found housing. So those are some of the highlights that we've had over the last couple of months. Are there any questions about the two management reports in February and March?
How does this wait list compare to past years?
Pretty similar, yeah. At the peak of around fall and December, we were right around 350. So we average between 250 and about 450 a year. Mr. Bland?
You said roughly about 100 were over income, but you still had to count those as being active wait lists if they're over income?
That is correct. We still have families who, we have many families within our community who are working jobs that push them over the income limit. Those families could also be two-parent families who are actually working, and that does push them over the 100% poverty limit. And Head Start does if we have offered out all of our spots to children who are below the 100% poverty limit, then we can offer out other spots to over-income families who are just a smidge over the guidelines. Mr. Smith?
Okay, so sort of a separate question here. I got an inquiry from a person living in the vicinity who saw new, I guess, fiber to the facility on Mumford, and was wondering if that was available to everybody else to tap into. Who provided the kind of connection to the new building? Was that ITV3 or I3, or?
Could you help me answer this one?
I clarify what you're saying here.
Okay, so I got an inquiry. I'm on the UCTB board. We got an inquiry about public access to be able to tap into the new fiber line that was run to the facility out there. But I assume it's I don't know who provided the fiber.
Well, we're paying for the fiber line there because we need internet access there, and I assume that residential customers could tap into that. But I'd be happy to check into that with our vendor, which is Consolidated Communications.
So it's CTC. Okay, so that's separate.
Waiting a long time because that really helps us. We have data systems that we need to operate there, and that's a big. Yeah.
CTC, but it's so that has a slightly different flavor than if it was just an I3 laid line as part of the system. So that is a CTC aspect, and I can follow up on it. I just needed to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept and place on file the Head Start and Early Head Start management reports, including their financial and service area reports for March and February?
So moved.
Ed Bland, we need a second. Rich? Dick Helton, I should say. Your name always throws me off there. No, you already did. With no other further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll go ahead and have the Head Start annual report.
In front of you, you should have a packet or the annual report in a binder clip. This is our program's 2015-2016 annual report. This is a requirement of the Head Start performance standards to present information to the community on an annual basis on where our program are on the outcomes of our program. So I'm just going to highlight a few areas for you. For those of you who do not know and are new to this commission, our program we are funded to serve 576 children, and we have several different options within our community: Champaign, Savoy, Rantoul, Urbana, and then we also have home-based services, as well as collaborations with family childcare home providers, and Courage Connections, which is a homeless shelter for women. We also serve expectant women throughout our program, and that makes up our 576 funded enrollment.
Speak to that a little bit, go back to that, Brandy, but the reason that we have high collaboration numbers is that we continue to seek center-based programming. Our families, are interested in center-based. The problem with us is that we don't have a site. So now we have one in Urbana that helps us to serve additional families and children. We would really like to have an additional location so we could provide more site-based services and potentially, secure more funding. But right now, that's how we meet our enrollment, is by these collaborations and family child care partnerships.
This is also our financial report. We received $6.9 million for the year 2015-2016. We do have a variety of different funding streams, such as HHS, the Illinois Department of Education, which is our Illinois School Board, Illinois State Board of Education. We also have had local funding in years past. Currently, we do not have United Way funding. So this is information about the children and families we served. We actually served 732 children and 658 families for the year 2015-2016. 68% of those families were single-parent families. We did have increases in the number of Spanish-speaking and also Middle Eastern and South Asian speaking families. So that was a difference from last year. Family engagement. As you know, as a Head Start program, it is really important for us to have strong relationships and partnerships with our families, and it is key to the children's school readiness and also their healthy development. The agency currently has 21 family service staff, and that also includes home visitors, family advocates, and family child care mentors to support families in obtaining services within the community. As you can see here in this graph, we provided, families requested more information in the area of health education, parenting education. We did see an increase in the number of families requesting resources for parenting education, as well as English in a second language. We did see decreases in families experiencing crisis, and also housing assistance. So we're going to keep a good eye on that and for this upcoming year and see what the results are. It is also very important for us to have father engagement, but also male enrollment or involvement with all of our families, with all of our children, whether that's aunt, uncle, cousins. We try to have as many events in the community to bring in those male role models.
Speaking back to the family engagement piece, and because we have so many programs housed within the Regional Planning Commission, we're able to do a lot of referrals internally. So and our goal, organization-wide is to lead our families towards self-sufficiency. So if we have a Head Start family that needs housing services, or they're interested in training and education, we have a workforce development team that will help them attain those goals. So the synergy that we create, even within our organization, provides a holistic approach to the families that come here for services. And as you can see, they take full advantage of that, and we've been successful doing that. And we're lucky in terms of Head Start in that we get not just the federal money, but we leverage that federal money with other funds to create a unified approach to helping our children and families. So thank you.
Education is also a very important component of our program. I wanted to bring your attention to the fact that we served, we had 42% of our kindergarten-bound children going on to leaving Head Start this last year, and that's a large percentage. Typically, it's between 40 and 50%, but that is a large percentage. Looking at the graphs below here, I wanted to point out to you that those kindergartners who were going to school this 2016 year, all of them made significant progress in their child outcome goals. And for our program, we must measure every year child progress. We want to make sure that every child who leaves us or goes on to the next transition, they've had an increase in social-emotional development, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, language, cognition, literacy, and also math. And all of our kids made significant progress. Over 90% of our children were ready for kindergarten this year. So that was awesome. Teacher qualifications, again, it is very important to us that our the teachers whom we employ are highly qualified. According to the federal requirements, we're supposed to have at least 50% of our preschool teachers, they need to hold a bachelor's degree. Our program exceeded this requirement during the 2015-2016 year. We had 61% of our teachers holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Looking down here at our class assessment scores, class is something that it's a nationally recognized standardized assessment tool that is used across the nation. It's also being used in the early childhood programs or school districts to measure emotional support, classroom organization, and instructional support. Our program here in this graph, we are in the green, and as you can see, in every area, when you compare to the Office of Head Start threshold, we are above expectations. We've exceeded expectations. At the national average, we have exceeded the expectations or exceeded the national average by through emotional support and instructional support. We're just a few points lower in comparing to other programs across the nation. Overall, we're doing very well. Comprehensive services. This is something I'm very proud of. We collaborate with several community partners, such as Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, all of the early childhood programs throughout the county, the Early Intervention Agency, which is Child and Family Connections. We have so many services to provide to our children and our families that we are able to offer, we are able to support children who need additional support in their development, and that includes children with disabilities. We had a high number of children requiring speech and language services this year, and that's pretty typical from year to year. We did have children with autism enrolled, children who had health impairments, orthopedic impairments, as well as what we consider a non-categorical or developmental delay, and that's an overall delay of their development. Health services, again, as we collaborate with the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, we are, and also Carl and Christy and some of the other health clinics in the area, such as Promise Healthcare, we are able to refer families to medical homes, dental homes, to receive all of their health screenings and dental care needs. We also work very closely with Familia Dental and Smile Healthy. They actually come out to our centers and provide free dental care to our children, their siblings, and family members at no cost to them. We also have a social-emotional development specialist on board who works directly with children. Her specialty is early childhood, and we were able to serve 115 children last year, which includes observations, evaluations, social-emotional support, especially for children who have difficulty working or playing with their peers. I do want to point out on this particular page our nutrition and healthy weight status. In years past, our Obesity and overweight status rates were very high, upwards of 35%. I am happy to report that we have reduced our overweight and obesity rate down to 25%. We did see an increase in healthy weight status, so that means children were able to maintain or reach a healthy weight status within the program year. We also saw a decrease in underweight status for children, and that was actually a 2% decrease. Whoops. So again, our community partners, I spoke about that before. I wanted to share with you just a few. Not everyone is listed. We have quite a few partners within our community. I have mentioned CUPHD, our collaboration with Smile Healthy, the Champaign County Developmental Disabilities Board. They actually help us support our social emotional development specialist to provide that social emotional support to kids and their families. WIOA Book Mentoring Project, they actually work very closely with us. PNC and Parkland College, they provide us with books, activities, events for all of our children enrolled. Then we also work very closely with the University of Illinois. The Extension Office comes out and provides a lot of health and nutrition activities for the children directly in the classrooms. We also have the U of I Speech and Hearing Science Department. They come out and provide speech services to all of our kiddos who may not receive services at the early childhood level. Also children who do not qualify for speech and language therapy. They actually are able to provide our kids with interventions on site. And then this is a new collaboration with the Lions Club this year. They actually purchased vision screeners for this particular area, and they also had volunteers from the Lions Club to receive training on how to screen our infants and toddlers. And this is I believe is going to be a very good relationship. The Lions Club partners are already they're having a great time screening our kids, but we're also most importantly identifying children who need vision evaluations and also glasses. So we're very excited about that. This page, and this is about our RPC commissioners. We list out all of our commissioners as well as our Head Start Policy Council members. And I do want to thank all of you who help us monitor and plan our program. Without you and our families, of course, we would not be here. So that is it. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? Right?
I make a comment. It's an excellent report.
Mr. Bland, sorry.
Excellent report.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'd like to make a comment as well. I too thought that was an excellent report, and I'm very passionate about the work that you do on behalf of our children and families in this community. And Brandy and I have been talking our last couple of sessions about the community schools movement that the Champaign Unit 4 Schools is embarking upon. 3 schools will be a part of this process, and those are Garden Hills, Booker T. Washington. When we talk about additional sites where Head Start can be housed, we really are excited about the potential for the partnership between Unit 4 schools, the community schools piece specifically, and Head Start. So again, Brandy and I are in constant communication about what that could look like and the potential to grow.
Thank you, Katina.
No, this is, frankly, to me, is one of the most important programs out there, and CCRPC does a bang-up job on it with the cross-collaboration and internal collaborations and so on. I can't help but wonder, are there some research dollars out there for follow-up studies that could be conducted on, what happens to these children 1, 3, 5, 10 years out, and the families around them. It just strikes me as a perfect research opportunity, and do we have a model out here that we should be promoting nationwide?
I can answer that for you. I've been working with the Illinois Head Start Association on creating reports through a database that we use called Child Plus. And majority of the Head Start programs throughout the state actually use Child Plus. So I was charged to create those reports. And what those reports are going to do, we're going to be able to pull more information, not just by program, but as a state as a whole. Then in addition to that, we're passing on this information or sharing this information on with the Illinois State Board of Education, and they in return are also including us in their database, which is their Student Information System, or SIS. Every Head Start child will be receiving a student ID number, and over the years, as children leave us, we will be able to tap into that system and see where they are. How are they doing? And we'll be able to pull that information back into our program planning for the future. So I think we're in early stages of that.
That's great news, and I think the follow-up over time is really important, because if this is a very successful model, we need to be selling it. So.
Absolutely, and we agree.
Recognize the staff. This document looks great, and it took a lot of staff effort to put this together, to design it. Rita's team helped with that, the data collection, and I think this speaks not just to our staff, but the message that we want to get out to our stakeholders, to the community, about the fact that every single day our staff are looking at outcomes and impacts, and how can we move children forward. And I think this helps propel us. And yes, it's a very data-driven program at the federal level, but every day in practice, this drives us to do better. So when we look at these numbers, we can see, okay, we need to work more here on, math concepts and cognitive skills. So I do appreciate all the work that went into this, and I applaud the staff for presenting such a fine document.
Thank you.
And you're right, it is data-driven for federal level, but you also brought in the fact that it brings the families into it too, and hopefully has an impact on that cycle that we all want to see better for our families. And it does give us an opportunity, though, because we do such a good job in this community, driving those things and doing a good job with these grants to draw more money to have a better impact for our communities, and that's very positive.
Interested in more information on the workforce development. You mentioned it, Betty, but are families taking advantage of workforce development training? Could we get more information out to them about it? What are the demographics of those families? Are they rural? Are they Champaign-Urbana? I mean, I don't need it immediately, but I'd be interested in that. We have a city goal on workforce development, so it would be nice to have that information.
Do we have a motion to accept and place on file? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move forward with our program division updates. First update will be from Chris.
Tying right into that, we had the county audit here in residence the last week of March, and I'm happy to report that Head Start happened to be the major federal program audited, and there were no compliance or fiscal findings, and we appreciate program staff and our own fiscal staff's hard work on that during that week of field work and somewhat beyond that. We would anticipate probably that the county audit would be complete the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration. Thank you. And that was submitted in early April in collaboration with several community partners to grants.gov. That's with the Department of Justice. So I believe we will know whether or not that application was approved and awarded funding at the end of September. We, and Ms. Murphy will probably speak to this, but we do have a review coming up for the WIOA program in May with the Department of Labor. That's something relatively new, and fiscal staff will be supporting whatever is needed there for that portion of the program. And that's everything that I have.
Thank you. Becky, our Human Resources.
All right, that's much better. I'm glad everyone is awake and ready for my exciting report. The personnel transactions report was provided in your packet, and there are no unusual transactions to discuss today. I am happy to report that, by the way. We are currently, the Human Resources Department is currently beginning the recruitment strategies for the new school year start. Mayor Finan, I just want you to know we have had some great success lately working with the WIOA program on filling some of those. Is really excited about the tuition reimbursement and training opportunities that we offer through our programming, so that's exciting. We also, our department had just started the summer youth enrollment payroll processing with Care for You and the Urbana High School yesterday. The numbers for summer youth, they're a little fluid throughout the program, but we are planning on supporting payroll efforts for 283 students this summer with Champaign, Mahomet, Rantoul, and Urbana. We're excited about that. It's always rejuvenating for our department to be able to help these young students throughout the community, you know, sometimes get that first job. And you know, I'm actually proud to be that person that teaches them, you know, what is work, what do you have to be ready for on that first day with your work eligibility and how those state and federal payroll taxes work. So I would be happy to answer any questions. Mayor or Pius?
I'm sorry, Deb?
I just wondered if RTC actually has a summer youth student at RTC. We sure do.
We sure do. We are sponsoring that student as well as supporting the payroll for that individual. They actually will be working in my department.
Great.
Yeah.
So for the summer youth program, the RPC is the employer of record. So we do all the processing and make sure everybody gets paid on time in the payroll. But we have a very robust system, and I think this is year 3 or 4. I think we've got this down now, but it's difficult because these are, you know, young students, and this is their first experience for many of them in terms of being in the workforce. So I think it's a great program, and we really appreciate the community collaboration on this summer program.
We
Still doing the match that the students save all summer, they get like a $25 bonus.
Busey is a participating partner, and they are doing something. I don't know their exact match for this year, but we are collaborating with them. We also have, as a result of the Summer Youth Job Fair at Centennial, we had a line of students wishing to work at Head Start, and so we have made contact with those individuals and are working with the summer youth coordinators on making those placements this summer, so that was exciting as well.
I just really appreciate RPC taking on the role of the payroll management because I was in on the beginning of the Urbanas program, and that was a big hurdle to get over. So my question is, the 283, do you have a breakdown of between the communities, how many students?
I do. The Care for Use program will be sponsoring 98 students, Champaign schools 130, Mahomet 15, Rantoul 15, Urbana 25. And keep in mind, those are fluid.
I had a question about the lateral status change. Are we going from a senior engineer to a senior engineer temporary? Is that because of funding changes?
No, unfortunately, one of our excellent employees, our senior engineer, took another position. However, he was kind enough to continue to work part-time temporary for us. Yeah.
We will move down to, Betty, you have Lisa Benson's report?
I do have Lisa. She's included a memorandum in here. She's not able to be here this morning. Just a few things to highlight. We've fully exhausted by our first week of April all of our LIHEAP funding, which is the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. However, the state has indicated they will provide us with additional funds for client needs. So, of course, we're in line for that, and that money comes from other regions in the state that aren't using theirs. So as much of that as we can get, we can just continue to serve the incredible need in this community. Of course, funding for FY18 is fairly uncertain, but we will continue to request those dollars that we can get to serve our community. Our weatherization program, as you might expect, is a fee-for-service program. So if we're not producing, we don't pay for staffing time. I'm happy to report that we are not just meeting our goals, but we're exceeding our goals and actually have a balance in that account. So we've also requested additional funding for weatherization. We continue to, our maximum dollar amount has gone up to $10,900 for weatherized homes. So we're very proud that we're making a lot of progress in this program. Because the LIHEAP and weatherization programs run in tandem. You can't receive LIHEAP funding without doing weatherization. So we want to continue to do good work in that area. The Individual Service Coordination Program, which serves our developmental disabilities community, we are, along with the state, going to implement Servio, which is an electronic database, and we think it will have application among other programs here, but that's going to be a new IT effort, and we're going to have to convert existing data to this new system. But I think in the end, it will save us staff time and resources, and we can spend more time serving our developmental disabilities clients. So we're looking forward to implementation of that program. We've got a number of grant proposal renewals that Lisa and the team have been working on, including our Homeless Prevention Rent Assistance Program, our DHS Emergency Solutions Funding Program to support homeless, the Continuum of Care proposals, and we're requesting additional funding for the Emergency Shelter for Families. We've served 48 households since we opened the Emergency Shelter for Families in June of 2016, and we appreciate the collaboration with the Housing Authority. It's not enough to serve the need for emergency family services and shelter in this community. So we're going to continue to do the best we can with that program and hopefully continue to get United Way funding to help support our efforts there. So I think that's what Lisa has.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Betty? All right, our next report is Rita, our Planning and Community Development Report.
Good morning again. The staff of Planning and Community Development has been out contacting the general public. We have had several public meetings regarding the City of Urbana Pedestrian Master Plan. So far, we have talked to over 50 people in all those meetings, and we still have 3 more meetings this coming week. The next one will be on Tuesday at Yankee Ridge, and then on Thursday will be at the Urbana Council Chambers, and on Saturday we'll be at the farmers market, reaching out to the general population in Urbana. Along with that, we are signing a contract for technical services with the city of Urbana to develop a byway finding plan for the city. We are in that process right now. We developed the Urbana Bicycle Master Plan, and now we are moving into the direction of implementing the plan by developing the bikeway finding plan for the city. And with it, we'll be working also with IDOT for bikeway finding on the improvements they are going to be doing on University Avenue. Also, on May 16, we'll be having our third public meeting of the Curtis Road corridor study. That meeting will be presenting the evaluation of the scenarios that were developed by members of the community, and will be proposing draft recommendations for improvements on Curtis Road. That's May 16 at the same location that we had the previous two meetings. We are also starting a new project that probably you need to be aware of. We'll be developing for Champaign County freight study. That's a priority in the new in the recently signed transportation bill to deal with freight. We request a grant from IDOT to do that study. The grant was given to us, and the contract was signed. Then we are in the process of creating an advisory committee. I already contacted the Champaign County EDC to be a part of that group. And they will be providing contact information from some industries and big businesses in the community that deal with freight to be part of the committee. And representatives from the different agencies who are part of RPC will be also part of this committee. We are just starting to put together that advisory committee. And I have two funding announcements. The HSIP funding, which is the Highway Safety Improvement Program funding, is a federal program that is channelized through IDOT, has a call for applications. This fund can be used to address safety issues in the community. They have about $35 million available for projects. And the distribution of the funding, or how you get the funding, is 90% is federal funding, 10% is local match. We usually prepare the applications for the members of QATS. Then if you have a project, let me know and we can work with you on preparing the application for you. Also, the Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program funding is open for projects again. They just distributed funding about 6 months ago, but it's open again for funding. I don't know how much funding they have available, but this is funding that is usually allocated to bike and pedestrian facilities. Then the deadline for applying for that funding is December 1st of 2017. The deadline for HSIP funding is June 2nd. If you have any questions, this is an 80-20 match.
Great. Thank you, Rita. All right, do I have a motion to accept and place on file the 4 division updates for our fiscal, human resources, community services, and planning and community development?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go on to our new business. Due to Memorial Day, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have it on there.
She skipped that.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong agenda here. I skipped over, we have an interim CEO. Well, no, I'm still Madison.
Great. So I just have a few things to add. That would be the next report. As Chris mentioned, we did get a phone call last week from DCEO indicating that the U.S. Department of Labor has randomly chosen Champaign County, our 4-county workforce development area, which includes Champaign, Piatt, Iroquois, and Ford County, to come down here and review our initial compliance with the new WIOA Act. As you know, WIOA is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act that was passed with bipartisan support at the federal level in 2014 with full implementation by July 1st. As you might guess, this new WIOA Act, the regulations are extensive. And you know, the impetus here is that, and this is the first piece of legislative reform in terms of public workforce in 15 years. So you can imagine that things are very different. But what they really want, the target is to have an integrated, you know, single purpose delivery system for job seekers, currently employed workers, and education and career options. So we currently operate the one-stop center on North Madison. That includes the 4 partners, which is us as the workforce development team. We're the grant recipient and the fiscal agent for the WIOA federal funds. That's about $2 million in federal money. The Illinois Department of Employment Security, IDES, they're co-located. Parkland College, which provides literacy and education services, and then DHS, which provides rehabilitation services. So when the DOL comes in here, and they're going to be here for a full week, the week of May 15th, the review, the compliance review will be comprehensive. We're in the middle of negotiating our memorandum of understanding in terms of how we're going to share infrastructure costs, share delivery costs, and as you might expect with some of the state agencies, their budgets are flat to being reduced. But at the federal level, we're required to have an integrated cost-sharing system. So we're still negotiating. We're making a lot of progress with that. They are going to look at 4 major areas: governance, partnerships, our one-stop operations, and work-based learning. The feds are very interested in additional apprenticeship programs and on-the-job training. And so that's our focus. That's what we're continuing to do. We have a long way to go because other areas of the state have technology enhancements that we don't have yet. So, for example, single intake. When a client comes into the one-stop operation on North Madison, we need to have more of a single intake so we know how to direct clients. We're going to look at all of those things. You know, unfortunately, there's no federal money attached to this, so we have to use the resources we have and maybe deploy those in a little different way. But we're very much, you know, in the process of being prepared for this review. And I don't think that it's a remediation. It's to help us do the implementation and see where we are and how we can progress. So I think it will be useful for us in the end, but all of our 4 partners and our governing bodies will be involved in this, and it will be an extensive process for the week. Along those same lines, the workforce, the WIOA Act requires competitive procurement of the one-stop operation, which is the North Madison location. Unfortunately, there's no money associated with that either. So I've appealed to DCEO indicating, you know, there's no money. I'm not sure anybody's going to respond to an RFP without any money attached to it, but they said they want to follow the DOL guidelines, the WIOA guidelines. So we've secured a third-party vendor to prepare an RFP, which has been posted, and we intend to respond to that RFP. The response is due by May 15th, and so that's going to take a intense staff effort to respond to all of the issues in that RFP which speak to the one-stop operator. But that's how we'll be chosen, and it would be, once we're chosen, it's a 4-year commitment. So, you know, we need to prepare that, you know, collaboratively with our partners. So again, that's going to take a lot of staff effort in the next several weeks, so we're working on that. We continue AFSCME contract negotiations with our Head Start site. Our next meeting is scheduled for the evening of May 15th, and we anticipate that the union will present their economic proposal to us. So in concert with Barb Mann of the State's Attorney's Office, we continue to negotiate with the union toward a contract. Our contract expired last February, so we are operating under the existing contract. As Becky mentioned, we have a robust summer youth employment program, so we're gearing up for that. We are also participating, you may have seen this in the News Gazette, but we are one of the main partners along with the News Gazette and the Charge program in sponsoring a very robust job fair. I don't know what the date of that is, at the Hilton. And we have a long list of corporate sponsors. We're really excited about this. Last year we had people out the door in terms of the job fair. So we look for another robust opportunity for our community to come together and get job assistance and education and training. And we're really pleased with the private sector partners that have agreed to help us sponsor this. So that's what I have. Okay. Job fair, we'll have representatives there to assist potential job seekers with resume development, how to conduct an interview. We'll also have tables for all of the private vendors there. It's a unique opportunity for people in the community to gather information and hopefully secure a job. So we're excited about that.
I'm looking at my proper agenda here now. It appears that we have a RPC branding and
As you may have seen, and Matt's going to pull this up, over the last year, it's been, as you know, a continuing challenge to convey to the community, to our stakeholders, even frankly to our internal staff, what the RPC does. You know, you can walk into a Head Start location and the staff there will say, gee, I work for Head Start. Well, no, you work in the Head Start program, but you work for the Regional Planning Commission. So the staff and I have worked very hard over the last year to try to create a visual identity that is fresh, engaging, and unifying, that speaks to, and I think the colors and the presentations speak to the fact that, you know, we're a very diverse organization in terms of programming, in terms of staffing, and the wealth of staff strengths that we have here. I mean, we have people from teacher aides to engineers and everything in between. And so somehow our goal or our mission was to try to create an identity for us collectively, but to still recognize the importance of each of the programs that are housed here, but to give us a fresh approach to the community. So we kind of did this in a holistic manner, because not just the logo, but also our tagline, which is, there's our logo, our tagline, our letterhead, all of our printed and electronic documents are going to have our tagline, which we've chosen as people.possibilities, because, you know, and we've spent a lot of time with the staff talking about this, but we think everything we do is aimed at helping people in our community achieve their possibility. And so it speaks to everything from transportation to Head Start to homeless assistance, helping people in our community achieve their best. So, you know, we're very proud of this effort. Along with the letterhead and the tagline, we've also, our website for many years and our business card, so all of our materials will look the same. We'll have a more unified approach for the community and everybody outside. But the website has been pretty much non-responsive in terms of the clients that we serve, public officials, stakeholders in the community. So along with this, we wanted to create and integrate this new visual identity with our website and create something that speaks to all of the potential users in the community. We've gotten a lot of feedback over the years about, gee, I can't find anything on your website. It's not easy to navigate. And so, you know, for many years, when I took over, when Cam left, you know, there was some talk before he left about hiring a consultant, and I'm proud to say we were able to do this internally, primarily using the staff capacities of Matt Yoder, which is right here. Matt has spent countless hours over the last year working lots of extra hours to help us get this done, and has really saved us thousands and thousands of dollars in consulting fees. And I'm happy to have him present this. So Matt, will you talk a little bit about where we are with this?
So before we dive into the tour, I want to just tell you a little bit about our process. So we had kind of 4 main goals in creating or updating the website. First, incorporating the new logo and visual identity. Obviously, we want it to be consistent with all the other materials. We wanted to create an inviting and accessible user interface, something that's more visually appealing and also easier to use. We've reorganized the content to be more audience-focused, and I'll walk you through kind of what that looks like. And then we also, something you won't see today, is we streamlined the editing workflow for staff, which is going to be a big help for us in trying to update the site in an efficient way and get those updates made in a timely manner. In terms of the platform, we're sticking with WordPress, a content management system, which is what we've used in the past. It's free open source software, and there's a large active community that supports it, so we're really happy about that platform. We have done, though, as part of this process, a lot of customization of the platform, and you'll see some of the results of that as we walk through it. So with that, I'll start just kind of a quick tour through the site. So you're looking now at the home page. Obviously, this is a more sort of graphical presentation. We can contrast that with the current home page, which is almost entirely text. So we're trying to use images to really kind of draw people into the site and allow them to engage with our content. We have a large slideshow at the top with featured content and news, and then below that some topic area pages, which I'll talk about toward the end of our tour. Going back up to the top of the page, the primary navigation is really audience-focused. So the committees section is really designed for all of you, for members of our boards and committees. The programs and services section is really focused on clients who take advantage of our programs. Project and documents focuses on members of the public who are interested in our work. And then the data and maps section is really designed for our partner agencies and for researchers who take advantage of our data. So I'll give you a quick look at each of these sections now, starting with committees. This section, like I said, has an area for each of our committees or boards that holds public meetings. We wanted to bring those all together in one place. So if we go into the Champaign County Regional Planning Commission, we'll use this one as an example, but all of these are set up in pretty much the same way. We have a list of the commissioners or board members on the left, and then the dates of all the upcoming and recent meetings. So if we go into one of those meetings, we can use today's meeting as an example. You'll see the time and place at the top, all of the details, and then all of the meeting documents at the bottom with thumbnail images. And we hope that by organizing these documents according to meeting, that should make it easier for members of these boards and committees to access. The programs and services section, like I said, has information about our programs, descriptions, application information, those sorts of things. The menu items for this section are still being edited, so what you see here is not necessarily the final product. But we'll take a look at the Head Start section just as kind of an example of how this is set up. So again here, we're trying to create a more sort of graphical, inviting presentation. In the case of Head Start, we've actually gotten access to the National Head Start Association photo library. So we have a whole sort of repository of high-quality photos that we can draw on for this section, which is great. We're also really trying to sort of surface some of the most commonly accessed links, so things like the online application, the school calendar, center locations, making all of that really easy for people to get to. The next section, Projects and Documents, is structured as a project and document library. This section has things like our plans, reports, other documents that we publish. And this is still being populated, but we can take a look at what's there now. It's organized by topic and also searchable. So as an example, if we search for corridor study, we can see all the documents related to that topic and easily pull those up. And as an example, we'll take a look at the Curtis Road corridor study, which we heard about earlier in the meeting. We have information like staff contacts, a description of the project, and at the bottom, related files and documents. So again, trying to kind of bring all of that related information together in one place and make that really easy for people to access. The data and maps section is also structured as a searchable library, but instead of published documents, this really focuses on raw data sets, things like spreadsheets, maps, and we want to make some of this commonly requested data available online in the interest of sort of open data and transparency. So right now, most of the content here comes from our QATS data portal, but we're planning to add outcomes data for the other programs. And we'll also be adding some interactive tables and charts to this section as well. So we'll take just a quick look at the safe walking routes map item here. This is kind of an example of how these are set up. We have, again, a description, and then at the bottom, links to files that you can download. In addition to these 4 primary sections, we also have some secondary items that support them. There's a news area at the top of the page. This is, again, also searchable and filterable. We have a slideshow at the top with the top news stories and then chronological headlines below that. If we click into this sidewalk news story, the first one here, you can see sort of what these look like. There's the full press release with staff contact information, a large feature image, and then at the bottom we have easy access to the related documents, in this case our sidewalk network inventory and assessment. We also have the ability to enable comments for certain news items to encourage engagement with our online content. We also have, as part of this redesign, a full events calendar, including all of our public meetings, so it's easy to see kind of what's going on with RPC. If you hover over an event in the calendar, you get all of the details about it, including the date, time, documents that are available for download, those sorts of details. We've done a pretty significant revamp of the employment section as part of this update as well, mostly to improve usability. So we've really tried to sort of surface the current job openings and make it really easy for people to apply for those. So it's now just one click will take you right to the start of the online application. Each listing is also expandable to show the full job ad. And then the final feature that I'll demonstrate here is the staff directory. We wanted to make it really easy to find contact information, so we have sort of one central place for all of that. You can search the directory to find somebody's email address or phone number, and we also have an organizational chart view that can be helpful to figure out sort of where somebody fits into the organization. So if we return to the home page, I mentioned earlier that we have these topic areas that bring together content from across the site. These are really designed to allow people who aren't familiar with our organization to explore and get to know sort of what we do. So if we go, for example, to the transportation topic, you can see kind of how these are set up. It's really just bringing together kind of all of the different pieces that we looked at throughout the site. So we have information about the relevant committees, we have news stories and headlines, some of our recent projects and documents, and then at the bottom, transportation data sets and maps that we make publicly available. So we're hoping that these topic pages will provide a way for people to, kind of an entry point for people to get to know us as an organization. And they're also updated automatically based on a tagging system, so they'll always be up to date with the latest content from throughout the site. So just to wrap up, we're currently working on finalizing the content and resolving a few remaining technical issues. We'll also be training staff on the new streamlined editing workflow, and we hope to have the site live before the next meeting in June.
Acknowledge and thank all of the staff that have worked so hard collectively, but especially Matt and Rita, for leading us through this very difficult process. As you know, we have technical skill capacity in the transportation area, and Matt specifically has a skill set that none of us internally have, and he was able to not just look at the architecture, but also improve the navigation. And I think our end product, it's our hope that this is fresh and engaging and really, you know, gets our message and speaks to the people that we serve and provides an easier method for accessibility to our programs and the people that we try to serve every day. So I thank you very much for all of your hard work on that.
I have one suggestion. I noticed that on the 4 areas there, they all have 2 components except for committees. I would suggest make that committees and meetings, because meetings is something people look for right away. And I noticed they're all listed underneath there, so make that committees and meetings, and then it'll be nice and parallel.
Not final, then if you have any comments, please feel free to send those comments to us. That's why we are doing the preview today, but if you have any comments, send those comments to us and we'll improve, hopefully, the website.
I think it does look very good, too. I'm very excited about that. It's something in the Village of St. Joe is one of my top priorities is to update and redo our website. So I might be giving you a call. So, no, and I don't even, yeah. His letter on our website, I think, is about 5 years old. So I think, in maybe another year or so, the dates will match. So, but anyway, but thank you. I think it looks great. So, and I do think it's a useful thing. And I know that's one area in our village that we've been lacking is not having that resource for, because that's where people go to when they want information. So I think it's a good job. Charlie?
As someone who used to run this kind of stuff, it's very impressive, really great packaging of the breadth and depth of RPC. But the problem here is that you've created yet another area of expertise and services that you can offer the community. So congratulations.
As long as bring funding to us, we are not concerned.
Exactly, yeah.
You'll do about anything for money, right?
Somebody pull that.
Not a good one
I was also going to remark, as far as the branding too, I think that was a good thing, because we had talked a little bit about that when we were in our process of the CEO selection committee. When we worked on that topic got brought up 2 or 3 times, talking about how the regional planning has kind of changed through the years, and we thought it was important to maybe rebrand and let people know really what goes on here more so, because when you just read the title, with Champaign County Regional Planning, it's like, well, what is that? And so I think that really helps tie it all in too. So I appreciate that also. So thank you. So, all right. Now I will go back to my other agenda here, and we will do our new business. First thing is, due to the Memorial Day holiday weekend and lack of agenda items, I spoke with Betty, and the May 26th meeting will be canceled. So our next regular scheduled meeting will be on Friday, June the 23rd. Is there any other new business? Any other business at all?
I don't have any business other than just a reminder, we're having a retirement reception for Mary Clary today at the rec center at 4 to 6. So if you have the opportunity to stop in and wish him well, he is leaving the community, so it might be one of the last times you get to see him for a long time. So after 30 years of service to the village, it's a pretty intense time for us. So if you have a chance, stop by.
And actually, that reminds me too, our mayor of 35 years will, he's wrapping things up too, and we are also having a open house for him tomorrow in our community at our municipal building from 1 to 3. BJ Hackler, I said, has served as our mayor for 35 years. He was on the village board 10 years before that. So he's luckily going to stay in our community. He's told me he's not going to be home much, but I told him I do have a cell phone, so I still will be in touch with him, because he has done a lot for our community, and it's a wealth of information that he'll be taking with him. So I'm hoping to have him close by for a little while longer. But anyway, so please come out and wish him well also tomorrow. So, Betty, anything else for us?
That's it.
All right. Seeing that we have no other business, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Opposed? Have a great month.